All right, welcome to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest-running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, over 12 and a half years strong, and we got a great show coming to you this week. If you're watching on YouTube, yes, took the avatar off. My black eyes are getting better. I still look something like that. I look like an idiot, but still, look, that's not new. I'm here with my buddy Eric Leonard, known as Edgecombe Stan on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. And yeah, buddy, it's great to see you. Thanks for jumping on here.
You too, man. Yeah, it's fun. We snap each other every now and again. I'm friends with like 5 people.
I know.
It's the only way my daughter will communicate, so I have to be on.
That's what the twins do too. Like seriously, yeah. I have streaks going with the twins. I have snap streaks.
I had a streak going with my daughter, and it broke the one day, and she was like, I think she sent me something like, "Dad, you can renew it for $2." I'm like, what?
Restore it for $2. Exactly.
I'm 49. I don't care about a streak.
They do. The twins get upset when we'll have like 70. We'll be in like the 70s or something, which is like nothing for kids these days. Like, Dad, you just ruined the streak. You just ruined it.
Listen, you and I are weird about certain things. We have some kind of not phobias, OCD stuff. It's less than that, but yeah, like the volume has to be at an even number.
Yes.
My alarm has to be at an odd number. It's just whatever.
It's God.
Insane. Yeah. But I have too many of those to worry about a streak. I can't. Yeah.
Exactly.
No.
I've got enough
anyway,
going on.
I wanted to say, you sent me one and you had a Santa Claus thing going on.
The filter. Thing. Yes.
And I just responded, someone punched Santa in the face.
Yes. Double black eyes.
Asked for something, didn't get it, and Santa paid the price.
Yes. You didn't get me Snapchat?
Yeah. You broke the streak, Santa.
Yes. Yes. Well, we got a great show this week, folks. We're going to be diving into some Eagles and NFL talk right off the bat. Of course, you got to get into the Eagles offense. I mean, it's what we're all talking about in terms of what's going on with this team. We're also going to dive into the fact that Phillip Rivers is returning to football to play quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. So got a ton of Phillies talk as Kyle Schwarber is coming back. Rob Thomson has been given an extension to manage this team through the 2027 season. And we're also going to get into how Major League Baseball is handling the steroids era in terms of the Hall of Fame. Going to dive into that. And also a ton of Sixers talk. Eric and I are going to specifically talk about whether or not the Sixers should look to sign Malik Beasley once he actually becomes available to possibly help with their three-point shooting. And then more Sixers talk, what we're throwing down on the table. It's a great discussion with Sean Barnard, good friend of the pod from Fox Sports Phillies, The Gambler, and he's a contributor over at DraftKings as well. We're going to be discussing the Sixers in detail as we're heading into mid-December here. So, buddy, let's get into this Eagles team here. And first and foremost, we got some listener feedback this week from our friend Lou down in Washington, D.C. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with what Lou was saying here. I'm going to just say that right off the bat. I think it's a little out there, Lou, but you wrote us, and I want to dive into it here. Eric wants to get into it as well. It's about the Eagles' defense, folks. Lou says, I know the D played mostly well and the offense had tons of failures, but on your post-game show, you ignored the fact that the Eagles were winning with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game, and the defense let the Chargers march into easy field goal range to tie the game. Then they allowed the same thing to happen in overtime. Yes, Jalen played like crap. Yes, AJ came up small. Yes, the offense was predictable. Yes, they should have run around the edge instead of up the middle. But they still had the lead, and the defense failed when it mattered most. Lou from Washington, D.C. Lou, very much appreciate you, my friend. Very much appreciate you reaching out to us here. But I got to tell you this, my friend. No, the Eagles did not lose because this defense gave up only 19 points. It's only 19 points just after being put in a terrible position time and time again after the offense. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, some plays were given up by the defense, but I don't know what more the defense actually could have done to put the team in a good position to win that game. at the end of the day. And we're certainly going to get into the offense in a little bit here, but I don't know. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know, Lou. I think you might be taking things out a little too much on this Eagles defense that has really been the driving force of this 2025 team. I don't know. What are your thoughts here, Eric?
Lou, I'm not sure about your police work. Sorry, Fargo.
Yes, it's Fargo.
His name was Lou.
Yes.
No, Lou, thank you for writing, because, we don't get a ton of those.
Right.
Anyone who takes the time to sit down and write us is fantastic. So thank you.
You're okay in our book.
Yeah. And, football's it's a three-way sport, right?
Yeah.
The offense, defense, special teams. And out of the three, I'd have to put the defense in third place in terms of like who lost this game. Offense being number one, special teams number two, with Jake Elliott missing that field goal.
This might be his last year, by the way. Like, since last year, and he's like, this might be his last year as an Eagle.
Yeah, it's starting to feel that way. No kicker goes forever, and this has that gamey feeling. When people get older, they start to smell different, and it has that feel. And I've watched enough football where you're like, okay, if he misses like 2 or 3 more down the stretch, he's cooked.
Yep.
But anyway, I do think the defense was third on the list of who to blame for this loss. And, you almost have to give him credit for Jalen Carter not being in the lineup.
Absolutely.
And holding that team to 19 points. I know Herbert's left hand was broken, but you can't blame Fangio. I mean, if you watch that game, they were going after his left hand a lot.
Yeah.
They sacked him 7 times without Carter in the middle. And
I think there was like 12 quarterback hits too, I think.
Oh, it was some were brutal. I don't know how I don't know how you break your left hand and play football, number one. Number two, I don't know how you take a hit to that broken hand and not just go crying home. Like, it's like,
right.
I quit, Mr. Harbaugh. I'm going home. Like, I know I would. That would be awful. But I
spit in Harbaugh's eye.
I know you don't like him and his khakis and his mentality. But no, I would say the defense was the last on the list. But I do get his point though. It's like you are the better squad right now out of the three.
Like, they got to come up, because they got to come up big in those moments.
Yeah, and there were a couple. I think there was twice they could have got a turnover, in my opinion, and they did not get those, and they kind of had to play a perfect game to win this game. Because
that's a good point. Yeah,
as we'll get to it, the offense did not help, including the quarterback.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lou, thanks so much for the email, buddy. Seriously, appreciate you listening, and keep sending some emails to us. We'd love to read them here on the show. Again, folks, PhiladelphiaSportsTable@gmail.com. We'll read your email here on the show and respond to it. As Eric said, we're going to talk about this Eagles offense, and I guess, where do we go with this right now? I mean, the absolute hacks that are on Philly Sports Talk Radio right now, and just trying to get everybody all riled up and stuff. Like, we're already riled up because the offense sucks in every way possible right now. And it just feels like the season is essentially over. It feels like this team is not a contender because of the offense. But, as I was checking our Twitter account today, and a gentleman who goes back and forth with us every now and then was basically, I could tell he was frustrated, and he really, I think, wanted to blame Hurts. And I said, listen, it's not just Hurts. I mean, this is a coaching problem. This is an execution problem all around. We're not just talking about Hurts. We're talking about execution from the offensive line, the receivers, even Saquon Barkley as well. And this is also a in-game decision problem. This is also a play design problem. Like, it's fucking everything right now with offense. Like, nothing is working at this point. And I read a stat recently from our good friend Mark Schofield over at SB Nation. He wrote that teams have been stacking the box to stop Saquon Barkley this year. He has faced 8 or more defenders in the box 33.1% of the time this season, compared to 20.6% from a season ago. And on those runs where teams have been stacking the box with at least 8 defenders, this year he's averaging 2.3 yards per carry, which is a huge dip from 4.5 yards per carry against lighter boxes. So that's part of the problem as well. And when you have an offensive line that just is not syncing up, there's the chemistry just isn't there as well. that creates a problem all around for the run game and then for the passing game as well. And it creates a problem with Jalen Hurts and this coaching staff where if they're stacking the box with 8 defenders 33.1% of the time, Jalen Hurts needs to be able to get the ball down the field. And he's not doing it either because for whatever reason he's not able to in a moment, or the coaching staff is telling him, no, you're going to run this play and that's how it's going to be. Things are just broken everywhere. There's no easy answers. There's no easy solutions. There's no silver bullet here, Eric. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel like this team is a contender because this offense is just floundering.
Yeah, and I hate to give Poo-Poo Holes some credit here. I didn't think the game scheme was that bad.
Yeah,
Monday night. I just and I know they stacked the box against Barkley, and you just read the stat, but he had a great game, honestly.
Yeah.
But this honestly just falls on the shoulders of the quarterback. This particular game, I'm not going to sit here and bash
all the
Jalen
turnovers.
Hurts.
Yeah, all the turnovers. Absolutely, it was horrendous. Josh Schuster, our friend who did the post-game show with me. I mean, Jalen Hurts got an F. I mean that's the grade you gave him.
I'm glad he didn't ask me to do the post game because I would have been an absolute bitch.
Oh, I know. There's a reason I didn't.
The game ended at 12:15. I stayed up for it. I had to watch the Monsters Inc. Broadcast just to stay interested because it was just such a bad game.
Buddy,
the Chargers weren't great either.
Yeah, I've known you for over 25 years. I knew you were. There's no way doing a post game show.
Not that one.
Not that one. Yeah.
That would have been everyone gets an F. I'm going to bed.
Yes.
I mean, I don't. When's the last time a quarterback had 2 turnovers on the same possession? Like that's
no, it hasn't happened since they started tracking that since 1978.
No, and how many shitty quarterbacks have played since that
Lots.
year? Like,
especially for the Browns. Yes.
Yeah, especially for the Eagles in the 90s.
Yes.
But I can't believe it's never happened. But yeah, he pulled it off, and if he doesn't get his shit together, yeah, essentially. Let me just look at the standings quick. We can talk about the offense all we want. It sucked. You hope they do better next week. They have a horrible Raiders team coming to town.
Yep. There's no easy answers. Yeah.
That should be. Yeah, there are no easy answers. He has to play better. They should beat the Raiders by 30 points if he doesn't turn the ball over. That's one. But
right. You said the standings. You wanted to just look at the standings
because
here.
Like I say, the offense is. What do you say?
Yeah.
But like, here's the sad thing. You want to say the season's done. They're not contenders, but I almost guarantee they're going to win the NFC East and be the 3rd seed, right? I see them winning 3 of their last 4, even playing this poorly. I could see it because they have the Commanders twice, I believe.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Who against Marcus Mariota, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, and they're going up to Buffalo to Bill. That's going to be a loss. If you look at Dallas's remaining games, they're not playing too many good teams, but that team's so up and down. I think just by default, we're going to win. And if things play out the way they do, they actually play like Chicago agreed. If it ended today, this could very well end like the way it is right now.
Yeah.
The Bears go to Green Bay. Seattle plays Tampa or Carolina. That's going to be an absolute blowout by Seattle. And then the Eagles will play the 49ers right now. And that's, if you have to pick from Chicago or Seattle, give me the Niners every day.
Absolutely. Yes.
So like, unfortunately, we want to sit here and say they're not contenders anymore, but like, if it plays out the way I think it's going to, they're going to have a 1st round home game against the Niners, who they could beat. Their defense is decimated. Their offenses can be good. They haven't played anybody for a while. And unfortunately, I could see them winning that game, winning the NFC East, winning that game, and then everybody's back on the train.
Yes.
And then that's when everything's going to fall apart. And you're like, oh, they're not contenders because they would wind up playing like, they might play Green Bay, but a team they could beat as well. That's the crazy thing. Like that's, unfortunately, I want to say they're not contenders. I don't think they would beat I don't think they can beat the Rams. I don't think they can beat the Patriots, the Bills, if they actually made the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, you want to it's one of those things like, I don't want to get my heart broken.
I know.
But you can't. They won the title last year, but at the same time, you're getting back into it. And I could see them winning a couple and winning that first game in the playoffs. And then now everyone's like, I knew all along. I knew it. We got this.
You know what was going to happen. It was right around the corner. You know, they were going to get it together.
And then they're not going to get it together eventually.
Yeah.
That's what's good. This team has been so inconsistent, and not enough has been said. I'm sure there has been, but Nick Sirianni, I saw multiple people on Twitter the past few games the Eagles played. Like, does this team practice during the week? Like, they look so unprepared. Poo-poo holes has not been great, but where is Nick's accountability and all this?
Because he talks about it all the time. He really does.
Yeah.
You know, he's culpable in this as well.
Big time.
There's just you can take like a pie chart and the percentages of everybody who's responsible. Everybody's in there to like a certain degree and a certain level. I don't think there's one that is the absolute majority of the problem. It's like it's all even, from the offensive line to guys missing catches or not running routes hard enough, or whether it's Hurts and his turnovers recently. Everybody on the offense is culpable. But I mean,
if there's a blame pie, whatever you want to call it, I mean, I think Vic Fangio gets I'm trying to watch my figure slice. Like, he gets a really tiny one. But I think Sirianni gets the largest slice out of everybody, because once you felt the offense floundering like week friggin', what do we say at the beginning of the year? Like, the offense will come together by week 4. We should be good.
Yes.
And it just kept going and going. And it was like, where's the head guy in charge to be like, yo, we're champions. This is bullshit.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. Yeah. I'm going to say this too. Okay. This offensive line, the injuries are important, because I was actually thinking about it today and reflecting after this past week, because look, I mean, the team that beat the Eagles this week, they had a ton of injuries on their offensive line. This Chargers team had a bunch of injuries, and their interior offensive line just sucked. And they've sucked all year. Biggest weakness on the team. Mm-hmm. But the Eagles and their injuries, it seems like when you have a couple guys who are nursing injuries, or you have Lane Johnson go down, everything falls apart. The wheels absolutely come off. Jeff Stoutland is a fantastic offensive line coach, probably the best in the entire league. And the fact that he hasn't necessarily been able to, quote, figure it out at this point as we're heading into week 15, there is something to be said about that. And I don't think that's getting enough attention too. The injuries are a real thing, and these guys are not able to play how they need to. When you're being asked, when you've got whatever back injury or a calf injury, and you're being told that on a play, you have to go 2+ gaps over to get some sort of, to block an end who is just coming at you full force. Like, there are certain things that are just not possible for you to have a positive outcome at the end of a play if you're an offensive lineman injured trying to do those things. So I think there's more to be said for that. Jeff Stoutland's awesome. We know he is, year after year after year. And the fact that he hasn't been able to figure it out, I think the injury issue is actually a bigger deal on the offensive line than a lot of us are really talking about.
Yeah, and the line last year was just
so dominant.
Just no holes,
Yeah.
And you see Stoutland still has it. He's an older guy, but like, Mekhi Becton leaves town and he turns into a ball of shit. Like, that obviously, like,
Jordan Davis was killing him on oh my God, he was absolutely murdering him on Sunday or Monday night.
Jordan Davis is just, I so many kudos to that guy.
Yeah,
had a sack in this game. Their running game was not overly powerful in the second half. The first half they got some good runs with Omarion return to the lineup. But to lose 30 pounds and just I think he's easily one of the most improved players in the league, and he was already good. But I think this offense is going to pick it up a little bit, get us all interested, and we're going to
break our hearts.
They go down that road of and I'll be on this. I'll be on a show with you on mid-January, and we'll be like, ugh, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Pujols has to go. Would Sirianni stick around? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, before we go to our first break, we also wanted to talk about the fact that there's a grandfather, folks. There's a grandfather that's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL this week, and he's none other than Phillip Rivers. He is back in the NFL playing quarterback for the for the Indianapolis Colts at the age of 44. My God. Just real quick. Like, I don't get, you love the game that much at 44 that you want to like get back into this. The way he is going to be getting hit. He hasn't been under center in the NFL for 5 fucking years. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't necessarily understand it. Yes, people love certain things in their life. I would imagine that if you're one of the best quarterbacks that has played the game in our modern era, in our contemporary history, you probably miss it. You probably have a lot of nostalgia week after week after week during the course of the season. Say, man, I'd really love to get back out there on the field. But, man, I just don't know how this is going to go for this guy. Seriously, he might be broken 2 weeks from now. And maybe he is in great shape. I don't know. Maybe he is. But still, 44. And like you said, he's a grandfather at 44, too.
Yes.
Interesting. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts before we go to break here, man?
Well, first, he's 44. My brother's 45, and gray as a mule. So,
yes,
it's like my brother's strapping him back. Putting the straps back on.
Yeah.
You talk about the love of the game. I think it's the hatred of his family. He must be so annoyed with them.
I gotta get out of this house.
And his 31 kids. He just keeps like, I gotta get out of here. This sucks. Like
5 years of this.
I think he just had one who's like 2 or something.
He just had a kid? Oh my gosh.
I can't remember. I was doing research on his family. I'm like, and as by the 6th kid I gave up. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, put a wrap on it. You know what I'm saying? Philip, jeez.
I'll bag it up there.
Gee, man, you made your point.
Yes.
But I just can't see this working. He was one of the best of all time. I mean, best all time, like top 20, 25, something
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
But that's best all time. And but then I read, he's back. He's in great shape. He might actually play this Sunday. And I'm just looking at the rest of their schedule. First of all, they play on Sunday. They play in Seattle.
Yes.
Who has, I think, the best defense in the league besides the Texans.
Yeah.
And you're going to go into Seattle at 44. Haven't played the game in like 3 years. Like,
can't wait to see him scramble.
It's going to be. I mean, he's going to be landlocked. Like,
yes.
like his legs are tied down with cinder blocks.
Yeah.
And then the last game of the year for the Colts is at Houston against the best defense in the league, who's murdering quarterbacks.
Yes, they're killing quarterbacks.
He may not even make it to that game, and if he does, he may never see his 10 kids again. Like that, I just can't see this working out. But I do like the story, and I'm always like when Dave Robertson earlier this year signed with the Phillies.
Yeah,
I think I made the same joke. I'm like, he must be in his man cave. The kids are screaming upstairs, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take the contract.
I gotta get out of here."
I think that lady who walks the sideline for the Colts, the jots notes down and shit, the owner or whatever.
Yeah, the owner. Yep.
She must have called, and he was like, "Yeah, the kids are sleeping. 5 of the kids are sleeping. I'll be there. I gotta get out of here."
Don't let anybody know for another week.
Don't tell my wife.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yes, I love it. All right. Well, we are going to take a break, folks. And if you are not following us on social media, I think it's a good idea if you do. Search up the Philadelphia Sports Table. We are on Instagram. You can follow me over there at Mr. Jeff Warren, Eric at Slen1023. Over on Twitter /X at Philadelphia PST. I'm over on TikTok at Mr. Jeff Warren. Again, you like our Facebook page. We're over on Threads. Eric and I are both on Blue Sky. You can search us out there. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe to the show. Let everybody know we're on YouTube. If you have Philly sports fans in your family and your network, let them know about the Philadelphia Sports Table podcast show and that we are here on YouTube. So that being said, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back. We got tons of Phillies talk coming your way. Stick with us. All right, Eric, I know you're watching the Lakers and the Spurs right now. Just, yeah, somebody may have some money on this game here.
Yeah, I might have a couple shekels on this one.
Yeah.
Just keeping an eye on it.
Yes. But look, baseball offseason, some movement is actually occurring. And folks, if you hadn't heard, if you've been living under a rock, but you're a Phillies fan, yes, Kyle Schwarber has re-signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. He is going to be coming back $150 million contract over the course of the next 4 years. And I am extremely happy about this, because the thought that he could have been going to the Orioles, because the Orioles apparently matched what the Phillies were going to give him. I thought it was interesting. We talked about on Table Talk Show this week about how the Pirates were looking to possibly bring Schwarber on board. They were reportedly wanting to give him $100 million. Who knows if that was for real or not, because again, it's the Pirates. But look, he wanted to be back in Philly. What?
They lowballed him if it's real.
I know. They really
4
did.
years, 25. He's never going to sign that.
I know. But it really, it goes to show, it was reported that the Orioles matched what the Phillies were going to give him. He wanted to stay here in Philly. He wanted, it loves the city. And we've got ourselves some offense here over these next 4 years here, Eric.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the Orioles, got turned down and then went and signed Alonso for an extra $5 million, I think, on the contract.
Yeah.
And he's a year younger, so maybe that the money makes sense, but I think they got the better player. The Phillies got the better player, and just one that just fits in. He's been here forever.
Yep.
I think that was a
fabric.
Yeah, and I think that was a done deal even after the season. As soon as the season was over for them, but there's not much to say. It's Grady's back. He's going to lead off. He's going to hit 45 home runs or more a game or a season. But now, what dominoes fall? That's the part I'm a little afraid of.
Well, now what happens with JT Realmuto? It seems like he's next up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still think he's going to go somewhere else. I think he's going to get more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think Casty is going to get traded at some point.
Yeah.
I think Baum is going to be gone. I read the Phillies are still trying to get Kettle Marte, which, what does that mean for Stott? Marte is a second baseman. So,
yeah.
But you also signed Schwarber, and that kind of takes you out of the market for, you're not going to sign Kyle Tucker now.
Right.
Ranger Suarez is almost as good as gone, which I've said on the show, I think twice since the season was over. I think that's
kind of a foregone conclusion.
Scary proposition, though, given the flimsiness of the starting lineup, the starting pitching next year. No one knows when Wheeler's coming back. Aaron Nola appears to possibly be toast. Sanchez is great. What's the other kid's name? The lefty. I'm sorry.
Andrew Painter.
Him. We have no idea if he's any good.
Right.
And who's the other lefty? I'm sorry.
Jesus Luzardo.
And the other one. No, you're right. I got him now. Sorry, Luzardo.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yes.
My bad. But yeah, and Luzardo might have been a shooting star situation. We have no idea if he's going to be any good next year. So for Suarez to go, it's man, I love bringing back Schwarber. You almost had to do it, but what does that mean for the rest of the roster now? The Suarez thing is the biggest gamble of losing him.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know what the hell you're going to do. Wheeler starting pitching next year before Wheeler comes back scares me.
Well, the one thing that did happen as well, aside from Kyle Schwarber, is this front office absolutely loves Rob Thomson. They absolutely love him. They've extended him through the 2027 season. Rob Thomson has a record since taking over as the Phillies manager in 2022 of 346 wins, 251 losses, and his 580 career winning percentage is the best of any qualified Phillies manager. And I don't know, Eric, and maybe you have another angle on this. I don't know. We didn't talk about this at all prior. There's a lot of dislike out there for Rob Thomson for some reason. He's been the most successful Phillies manager, and there are people that say, well, with all the talent on this team, he should be successful. I don't necessarily see that. I can understand the argument, but there have been plenty of managers over the years in professional baseball outside of the Phillies organization that have had really great rosters who absolutely sucked, didn't do a great job. I mean, for God's sakes, we had Joe Girardi here. And I mean, that seems like, I know it seems like so long ago, and he had pretty talented teams and did absolutely nothing. He really sucked. I like Rob Thomson. I do. I think he has been a pretty damn good manager for this team. And I'm happy to hear about the extension through the 2027 season. What about you?
Who else are you going to bring in?
Well, that's a great question. Yes. Like who else? Like what's the alternative here?
It's always like, there's always something better out there. It's like, well, he's almost has a 600 winning percentage.
Yeah.
Through how many seasons now? And what were your options beyond that? And he knows the team well. The players, besides Castellanos, really like him, and he's hard on them. He got him to a World Series, and it's like, what? There was no other option. And plus, but also at the same time, like even for the haters, it's only through 2027. It's only a 2-year extension, basically.
Right.
We didn't give him a 10-year extension, for God's sake. So relax, everybody. And people forget, like Charlie Manuel before 2007, people hated Charlie Manuel.
They wanted him gone. Yes.
He was there for what, 2 or 3 years. And I mean, I remember the run-in with Howard Eskin back in the day. That got really ugly.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to 610 all the time back then. No one liked him. Like, let's just say it out loud. He was despised. And then 07 happened, 08, and so on. And now he's Uncle Charlie. And if Rob Thomson somehow wins a World Series with this team, he'll be Uncle Rob.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. He's the best option for this team. And again, it's only a 2-year extension. So
yeah. All right. Well, look, before we get to some Sixers talk, I in terms of Major League Baseball talk, I read a tweet from Buster Olney, and I thought, you know what, let's put this on the podcast show this coming week, because I think it's an interesting storyline about baseball, the state of baseball, the mentality of Major League Baseball, the Hall of Fame as well. So Buster Olney said in a tweet about former Major League Baseball players who took PEDs and steroids, he said, quote, "A great gesture of leadership would occur when current Hall of Famers who use PEDs, greenies, steroids, whatever, just came out and explained what they did and why. It would move the Hall of Fame to a place when it could finally acknowledge the reality of what happened in the industry for 20 plus years, rather than absurdly pretending that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were outliers." Wanted to give our thoughts on this because Buster Olney here has a fantastic argument, in my opinion. Why can't Major League Baseball, the Hall of Fame, this entire cog and network figure this out? Eric, why can't they figure something like this out? What Buster Olney said there, it's easy. It is easy to move on from this narrative for all these years, these decades that us baseball fans have been having to hear this narrative. These players who are great players, they are great players, and who need to acknowledge something that absolutely happened, that we all know that happened, and put it to rest. And I thought it was really interesting. I just wanted to bring it up on the show. I don't know if you have any thoughts with it, because I think that it's very, I thought it was insightful from Olney to really dive into this. So it was Twitter, so take it for what it's worth. And some of the responses were pretty hilarious as well. But I don't know. What are your thoughts here on this?
Well, number one, I always love the term greenies.
Yeah.
It's basically meth in a pill form. Like, it's just speed. Like,
yes,
but they give it that nice fun name, so it's not, whatever.
They make it sound organic.
Yeah, like nose candy. Ooh, yeah. Like a little toot. But I like the idea. The huge kink in his idea is that these guys have to come out and explain what they did and why.
Yeah.
Most of these guys have flat out said, well, no, I never did anything.
Right.
Like Barry Bonds at this point is never going to come out and say, yeah, I did horse piss tranquilizer and it helped me hit all these home runs. Like Roger Clemens is never going to be like, my career was essentially done when I got to Toronto, but I took this magic elixir and I became amazing. Like, that's the hard part. Like, they would have to actually go and explain to the public. I mean, to me, it's like they already hate you anyway, so who cares? But
that's what I'm saying here. Like, the haters are going to hate you, but you know what? Why don't you move on from it as well, instead of just continuing to dodge it? Because everybody knows, everybody else knows as well. Why not just get it out there? Okay, you fucked up. You know, you made some shitty decisions, probably, even though it did extend your career and even though you made millions more dollars, whatever, whatever. Just fessing up to it and being like, yes, this happened, doing it in that honest way. I think actually the public backlash wouldn't be as terrible.
No, but the downside is, what if you do admit it and you don't get into the Hall of Fame? Like,
that's where baseball sucks. Like, that's where baseball is shitty, So,
like, I could see a Sammy Sosa being like, "Yeah, I did it," and they're like, "Well, you weren't that good, actually."
Yeah,
you know, all those home runs. You had like 4 years where you were amazing, but the rest of your career was like good, but like, you weren't a Bonds or a Clemens.
Yeah.
But I just think, I mean, this idea has been floated out forever. The Baseball Hall of Fame, baseball in general never does anything easy. We talked about the Rule 5 draft a couple weeks ago and all that shit. Just make the Hall of just create an outhouse or another separate wing that's downstairs in the basement for these guys that are basically like, while they never admitted it, we all kind of know.
Yeah.
Mark McGwire's bust is down there next to Clemens and Palmeiro and Sosa. Like, just, it's down the steps through the cobwebs. If you want to go see it, like, we all kind of know what happened, but they're in there because, come on, there was cheating forever. There's pure pieces of shit there in the Hall of Fame, like Ty Cobb.
Yes.
Like, stop being so self-righteous, baseball, when you've turned your back and turned your attention away from all the shitty things that went on anyway.
Yeah.
Like, don't act like all high and mighty and pious because you're part of the hypocrisy of this whole thing anyway. So
just absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I like the idea of like a separate room. They call it the Greenies room.
The green room.
The Greenies room.
Yes. There's a big bucket there with greenies in it.
Yes.
Going in. Yeah.
You can just have yourself some greenies, folks.
Just sweating. Like, McGuire stats.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at these numbers. Oh my gosh. All right, folks, we're going to take a break again really quick here. And then we get back. We got some Sixers talk for you. Tons of Sixers talk coming your way. Stick with us. All right. Eric was getting a delicious drink there right as we were going to break. Oh, sweating a little bit with this game. You got a parlay going, huh?
Spurs are up 14.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. No, something for the effort, There we go. All right.
I'll put that money back into the show.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
No, I'm not doing that.
Well, look, in terms of the Sixers talk to get us started here, as we're closing out like our first segment before we get to what we're throwing down on the table with our interview this week, Sixers having some issues in terms of 3-point shots. Thinking to myself this week, like what could be done? Could there be an acquisition? Could they pick up somebody that might help? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Malik Beasley, he's out there. And yes, there's legal issues. He may not be the most stand-up human being in the world. However, signing Malik Beasley, if and when he is able to sign in the NBA, I think that's a notion that Daryl Morey and the Sixers front office may really want to take a look at because they need some help. This isn't a team that is in the basement by any stretch. The backcourt, as Len and I were talking about last week, is just incredible to watch. Like, the future of what this backcourt is potentially going to be is so fun to not only watch right now, but to think about. And if they have that 3-point shooting from Beasley, I don't know, Eric. I think there's something to it here. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you're right about his character. He's always been kind of a flake. There's weird stories about landlords wanting rent, even though he's made $60 million in his entire career. Some weird stories about like Scottie Pippen's daughter, apparently, of just stuff like that. He was actually one of the first guys. The whole NBA gambling scandal thing that happened.
Yeah,
I think wasn't he like the first one?
I think so. Yeah.
All of a sudden, people were watching his tape and like, well, that was an air ball. What the hell was that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's been kind of cleared. I don't know what the rules are in signing him. There's this weird rumor that he signed with a team in Serbia. He came out today or yesterday and said that's absolutely not true. I never signed. We talked to some team over there, but we never signed. But a basketball fit. I mean, the guy's a 42% career 3-point shooter. He's absolutely up and down. He's one of those guys that like in a contract situation, he'll play well.
He's not going to cost a lot. He's not going to cost a lot.
But when he's comfortable, he's not good. Which is a good reason to go sign him, because you're going to probably sign him to like $3 or $4 million, because you're almost halfway done with the season at this point, and he was only making $6 million with the Pistons last year anyway.
Yeah.
Would he even want to come here? I don't know. I think any team that would want to. There's multiple teams. Given everything I said about him,
there will
multiple teams will go after him because he can shoot the ball, and he would absolutely. He would fit in on this team. I mean, you got Eric Gordon come off the bench at times, and he's like your fourth or fifth 3-point shooter. It's like to upgrade that spot.
Yeah.
To a guy that's giving you absolutely nothing, to taking it from him and giving it to a guy like Beasley. He's 6'9", he can rebound a little bit. He's not. It's actually a pretty good fit, and this is Maxey's team. He's not going to take any. He could do his knucklehead stuff, but it's not going to matter, honestly, on this team. And I honestly think it'd be a decent fit. I just don't know how many teams are going to try and sign him. I don't think there's any way Detroit's going to re-sign him because of all that happened. And it's and Daryl Morey will take the heat for signing a guy like that. He doesn't give a shit.
Oh, he won't give a shit at all.
No. No, I think it's a decent fit. I just don't know if it's going to happen. He is such a kind of a bizarre guy. From everything I know about him.
Yeah,
he might just sign with a team in Russia all of a sudden for $6 million, and we'll never see him again. I don't know, but as a basketball fit, yes, he'd be excellent coming off the bench and taking some minutes. Your Edwards minutes, that kind of stuff. Where I like those players, but they can only get you so far. He's an established NBA veteran. He's only 29 years old too. And he's an awesome shooter, hits his free throws. I think good fit basketball wise. I just have no idea if it could actually happen.
Be funny if he signed over in Russia. He'd be like, oh, the landlords are looking for me.
He's pretty much.
I gotta pay the rent.
He'll be living in that house that Rocky trained in Rocky 4. Like just nobody can find him.
The cabin in Serbia or wherever the heck he was. Siberia. That's what I meant.
Yes. Siberia. Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea. I really do. And if did you ask Sean about this?
Well, we're going to be getting to that. Yes.
Okay.
And he thought it was a good idea. Like if it's feasible, like if it's feasible, like what you were saying, it's a good idea. It really is.
It's another no lose proposition. Right. You're already up against the cap anyway, or probably over it. I think you're in the first apron, but to sign a guy for like $3-4 million who can hit 3-pointers and maybe help the team, and instead of giving Eric Gordon any more time that he doesn't need, Kyle Lowry for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. So
yeah. All right. Very good. All right. We are going to go to break. Before we do that, though, you got any final thoughts, buddy, before I let you go?
Nope. It's almost 11:15.
Yes. Tired boys we got here. We're working. We're working during the day. We're doing podcasts at night.
I was making food all day with my daughter. It's exhausting.
Baking and cooking.
Well, it's fun. And I haven't really been drinking, and which helps. Lost weight and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was talking to her. I told my daughter, I'm like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm 49. I'm realizing, like, I cut everything out. I'm still tired. Like, I'm getting to that point in life. Like, I get 8 hours sometimes, and I wake up. I'm like, I could do another 8.
Yeah,
this sucks. Like, I'm tired.
I'll let you go. Big boy needs a pillow. My goodness gracious.
My Flyers pillow.
Yes, I love it. We're going to be talking Flyers. I swear to God, next time we're on, we're talking Flyers.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's get it done.
Next time we Flyer stuff, I'm on.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Sounds good. All right.
I'll know all their names by then.
Okay. Very good. All right, folks. Going to take a break. When we come back, got a great interview with Sean Barnard from Fox Sports Phillies, the Gambler. Going to dive more into the Sixers. Stick with us. And joining us this week, we love having him on to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, where this team is currently at and where they may be heading in the future. From Fox Sports Phillies, the Gambler. He's also putting up some content over at DraftKings as well. One of our good friends of the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, Mr. Sean Barnard. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, doing well, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on again. Always a pleasure to be on chopping it up about the Sixers and a little more
Yes.
room for life with this team. Come back down to earth to an extent, but still a little bit more excitement this year.
Yeah, Eric and I were talking about this team prior to us jumping on here, and just the fact that from a 3-point shooting perspective, I don't know. I think Daryl Morey might need to do something possibly before the trade deadline. I know we weren't necessarily going to get into that, but just a segue from what Eric and I were talking about to our discussion here. I don't know. I think it's something that this team may need to explore.
Yeah, I think this year has been from start to finish a really big evaluation year of let's see how good this team really is. Let's see what kind
Yeah.
of leap, how ready they are to compete. And it will be interesting what the decisions are made at the deadline if it's more of a priority to get under the tax, shed a little bit money. And that's when you think of guys like Andre Drummond or Eric Gordon probably being the ones on the chopping block in that regard. Or is it can we retool and try and make some noise in the Eastern Conference? That there
Yeah.
is some reasons for belief with guys like Tyrese Maxey, the leap that he's taken, if you can get a little bit of health luck that right there. So it will be interesting to see kind of what the motivation is. If they're trying to win games, if they're trying to make some noise, more shooting is always welcome for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Eric and I were talking about Malik Beasley, to be honest with you. Like what might happen? Like, could that be a possibility? I don't know. Do you have any initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he is legally cleared by the NBA
Legally,
and available to
yes.
play basketball games, I do not have a problem with him taking a chance on the Sixers roster. That I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the circumstances are a little bit unique when having this
Yes.
conversation, and I mean, we're seeing that more and more. I was reading about the Miami Heat how they basically have to officially agree to a trade of sending away Terry Rozier before the league can even have a ruling for
Yeah.
whether or not that will be legal, which is kind of interesting in that regard too. So a little bit in the unforeseen circumstances here, but just from a pure basketball perspective, Malik Beasley is one of the best shooters in all of basketball right there. And
Yep.
when you think about how impactful he was to that Pistons team last year, really their second best player during that playoff run, that's a guy that I would welcome in Philadelphia, and I think could
Absolutely.
make some noise next to Tyrese Maxey.
Absolutely. I think a lot of teams are going to be honing in on him if the legal stuff gets worked out there for sure. But Sean, I want to dive into where this team is at right now here, because they started the season off strong, kind of come back down to reality, coming back down to earth, as you essentially mentioned here. 13-10 in the East as we're recording this. I mean, we've seen some fun basketball from this team for sure. We've also seen some ugly basketball every now and again as well, as we're almost into mid-December here. How would you grade this Sixers team and the job that they've done so far, given the challenges that they've had this season?
Yeah, I think it's been a solid B to me that I've been
Okay.
mostly encouraged by what that I've seen this year. I think the most positive storyline and probably the biggest long-term change or sort of how I'm evaluating this team is the growth of Tyrese Maxey. That this dude is showing the ability to be a 1A star in a way that I wasn't fully confident was the case coming into the year. And we do have to see this equate to winning in a way that I think that's the biggest critique that you can throw is a guy like Tyrese, when he has it all the way cooking, does that really carry a roster in the way that you want to start to? But he's certainly closer in that conversation than I ever imagined would be possible at this stage of the year. To that same point, there has sort of been the black cloud of Joel Embiid hanging over the franchise of
Yep.
is he available? Can he play? What level is he at? We just saw him shoot 4 for 21 against the Lakers, including some shots down the stretch where just to me didn't feel like this is your time or this is your shot within the flow of things here. So you're kind of seeing, is this going to work? Can these two, pathways sort of cross over themselves in a way that is effective to the Sixers? But overall, I still think it's been mostly positives for the year and feel pretty strongly about that.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Tyrese Maxey too, and him being that NBA All-Star. I mean, we're talking about that 1A All-Star that we didn't necessarily think he may get to that echelon. Did I think he could have been an NBA star a couple years ago? Absolutely, but to reach this echelon, it's pretty incredible. But the narrative surrounding him, the concern about how much Nick Nurse has been playing him this season, the last thing that we all need, and the last thing that this team needs, is for Tyrese Maxey to go down with a long-term injury due to how much time he's on the court. How concerned should we be about Maxey's usage thus far and the minutes that he's playing?
Yeah, I certainly have some level of concern with it, that it does feel at a level of an extreme that I think could be scaled back to some
Yeah.
extent. I will say, for starters, I do think Tyrese Maxey is a guy who can take that level of wear and tear, that he is
Okay.
limitless energy. He wants to run around all day, takes incredible care of his body, trains like a madman in the offseason to be ready for these type of opportunities. And to that other side of the coin here, this is also a Nick Nurse thing. When you go back through the years of him as a head coach, that Kyle Lowry in his prime was logging up there with the most minutes in the league. Fred VanVleet played some of the most minutes in the league, and Tyrese is sort of his guy for this team. So it's kind of comes with the territory when that's your head coach. I don't need him being the clear number one minutes leader in the NBA by multiple minutes, as is currently the case. And he was over 40 for most of the start of the season. That now dipped. I believe we're at 39.9 at the time of recording as far as minutes per game there. You just got to find the windows where there are the games you can throw in the towel. That you don't need him to play 45 deep into the fourth quarter when you're down 20 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers or whoever it may be. I think Nick Nurse has made it a clear priority to set the tone, to say we're going all out regardless of what the score is. And Tyrese has sort of been the representation of that. But I do agree in the overall scheme of things, would like it scaled back at least slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we look at this Sixers team, the one thing that has consistently baffled me, and Sixers Nation, I think in general, it is a constant theme and narrative that the third quarter, my gosh, it remains an absolute abomination. And yes, the personnel and the talent that Nick Nurse have on hand for the third quarter certainly isn't stellar by any stretch of the imagination. But Sean, I just don't understand at times how this team, it's like clockwork. They'll have a lead. They squander the lead. Third quarter comes into play, and it is an absolute nightmare for much of the time. I mean, it's something that's gotten so bad that it's just this huge blemish, and it's been here for so long, this narrative, this storyline here. Is there any way for Nick Nurse and the Sixers to fix this these third quarter woes that they have in the future? I mean, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, and I've yet to be able to put my full finger on why exactly that is the case.
Incredible.
One of the stranger weaknesses that I've seen in a team here. I mean, whatever they are doing at halftime, I would change everything up. If that means not going to the locker room, if that means whatever it is. To Nick Nurse's credit, he has changed up the lineups quite a bit. We've seen a lot of occasions where VJ Edgecombe will start the first half, Quentin Grimes will start the second half, and changes like that. I was personally critical of Jared McCain was a guy that I would have injected in that Lakers game, which once again we saw some of the third quarter woes pop in there. So I think there are some things to critique, but the reality is this is a team that just sort of has to get up and get back into the flow of things after a halftime break at a rate which I think teams are doing better than them. So
yeah,
I kind of refuse to believe that there is X's and O's changes that teams are making that the Sixers aren't, or that there are adjustments that Nick Nurse is behind the eight ball. I think in general across the NBA that happens probably less than people think, that it is way more pre-game prep, having a game plan, and that's what you execute moving forward. So I can't put my finger on what it is, but it definitely has to stop. That they are putting themselves in a massive hole for no reason. And they just got to find a way to replicate what they have had some very good first quarter starts. So maybe we can kind of bring some of that life over.
Yeah, I just wish we could put our finger on it, because I mean, this is a long-term type of narrative here. I mean, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. It doesn't seem like. So, well, I need a break here. I need a break from this. We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, we've got more Sixers talk coming your way. All right, we're back with our good friend Sean Barnard from Fox Sports Phillies, The Gambler, putting up content over at DraftKings as well. Sean, let everybody know where they can find you on the socials out there if they want to follow you, my friend.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at Sean_Barnard1, on Instagram at Barnard_Sean there, and also on PickSwap Media, cranking out some content for both. So a lot of cool podcast clips and things like that popping out, and more in the works for sure.
You do a lot of great video content, my friend. I'm not kidding. I love watching your content online. And folks, if you're not following Sean, sure thing, man. You got to follow Sean. The videos are fantastic that you're putting up. They really are. But another guy I want to dive into with this Philadelphia 76ers team is Paul George. I mean, he had a really good game against the Bucks this past week, and he really took control of that game while also, I think, helping to settle the offense, the Sixers offense. Bunch of young guys too, really kind of taking a leadership role that you could actually see on the court. I'm wondering, what are your assessments of Paul George when he's on the court this season, what we've seen from him in terms of, how he can really help this team in the future?
Yeah, you definitely can still have the complaints about the rate at which Paul George has been on the floor and
right.
some of the lack of availability there. But I think when he has actually played, for the most part, it's been pretty promising and pretty respectable. That I think it's been the Paul George as advertised to an extent. He's never going to be a guy that quite lives up to the max contract, the full scale max that they did hand him in the past offseason there. But I think he's been like pretty solid when on the floor. I think defensively he makes an impact there. You see sort of the pathway to him being like this 3-and-D archetype of player with a little bit more juice to him. I think that Bucks game was absolutely his best game as a Sixer, certainly this year. And there is like this calming sense when he does have the basketball in the flow of the offense, which I think is pretty comforting and necessary to what the Sixers team needs. I don't think they have a ton of like super advanced creators, so having a guy like Paul George is certainly helpful in that regard. So I'm frustrated by it has not been he's scaled up to a full workload in the way that I've hoped, but when he's played, I think he's been pretty fine, and I can live with that and be encouraged that maybe that scales up moving forward.
Absolutely. Hasn't lived up to the max contract, like you said, but, there's comfort out there, at least for us when he is on the floor, as you noted. So as we're moving along here, Sean, I like to do this exercise every now and again with our guests that we have. We have some categories here, and I'm hoping you can give me the player that fits these particular categories and why you think that player fits best. So on this Sixers team, who do you think the breakout guy has been so far this season?
For me, I think it's Dominic Barlow in this conversation.
All right, nice.
I'm thrilled by what we've seen from Dom Barlow.
Yes.
And this is a cool story of a guy that you sort of got off the scrap heap here, had a cup of coffee with the Atlanta Hawks and San Antonio Spurs, wasn't really able to find any NBA footing there. And he looks like a guy that I think maybe the starter for this team all season, that I love the way that he does the dirty work, is willing to commit to the glass, knows exactly who he is as a basketball player in terms of attacking the glass with just like a relentless aggression, which I think is really appreciated. And I think there's more to him than just that you see some flashes where he'll put the ball on the floor, where he'll make a little pass, where I'm just like, there's something here in this guy's game. So I don't think Dominic Barlow is on very many people's maps heading into the season. I think he might be by the end of it.
All right, very good. The next category, I'm wondering, who do you see as the comeback kid? I was always hoping that it would be Joel Embiid. He certainly has not lived up to being the comeback kid. Who do you see so far on this Sixers team as the comeback kid?
Yeah, I'll give it to Paul George for this one, just
All
from
right.
the standpoint of I think he went forgotten in a lot of minds, and he's still a very solid NBA player. He's still a guy that can give you 25 and 5 on a fairly regular basis there, and I think will settle into his role in the Sixers team. It still has not been like a 10 out of 10 satisfied with the Paul George experience, primarily for the lack of opportunities and him being on the floor consistently there. But ultimately, I think Paul George has still been pretty respectable and worthy of this award here.
There's a few players for this next category I think that we could really hone in on, but I'm wondering, who do you categorize at this particular point as we're heading into mid-December as the rising star of the 76ers?
It still has to be Tyrese Maxey for me.
Yep.
He is across the entire NBA conversation, the rising star. That I think he's been a pretty clear top 10 player in basketball this year, and that is a level which I cannot believe that he's achieved. This year after year, this dude has skyrocketed past what I thought any realistic like ceiling were for his play, and he's still just 25 years old. He's still coming into his prime. He's going to get even better. Tyrese Maxey is a superstar that I do not think very many people expected he would get to this level.
Oh, thank God for Tyrese Maxey. All right, moving along. Who do you think is the don't forget about him player on this team?
That would be Jared McCain for me.
All right.
I'm still buying as much Jared McCain stock as I can get. That I still believe in what this guy brings to the table as far as his relocation skills offensively. I think he's truly going to be one of the most elite shooters in the NBA. I think we have to give him a little bit more grace when you factor in the pathway for him to this point was him absolutely popping off the page, playing 23 games as a rookie, and then his season being ended due to a meniscus tear. And what I think was even more harmful to kind of the trajectory was tearing that ligament in his shooting hand arm in that UCL coming into training camp this year. Not being able to participate in training camp when there was the level of roster turnover that was the case here, I think is a really tough spot for a guard dominant player. So I think Jared McCain has sort of been behind the 8 ball all year. There's still the flashes that have me believing. I don't think he's necessarily the most Nick Nurse type of player, and I'm personally a bit frustrated that I would carve out more minutes, but I do believe in the talent. I do believe that the cream will ultimately rise to the top there.
I love the player you picked for that category, because when it comes to McCain too, I think folks just need to realize, like you said, give him a little more grace. He's in his sophomore year here, sophomore season, with this team. Let's give the guy a little bit more grace, especially with the injuries that he has been through. So final category here before we get to then our last topic, Sean, who is the biggest quote needs to step up player on this team?
Yeah, and I hate to do it to him, but I think this is the Joel Embiid conversation
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
And it's strange. Like, I will say this wasn't exactly how I expected things to go. I kind of thought it would either be Joel can't play and he's consistently unavailable, and you could honestly make the case that that's pretty much what has happened this year. But the other side of things is I thought, like, if he's going to be existing in this NBA capacity, we're going to see more consistent flashes of him being the guy. And I don't think we've quite seen this. I will
Yeah.
say the first stretch of the start of the year, that final game before he missed the 22 days with the knee flare up in the right knee, the non-surgically repaired knee from this offseason there, that was the most encouraged that I thought I could squint and see the vision of, okay, he's not far off from what Joel Embiid can be, but the lack of defensive impact that he does make, it is just layup lines around him. The lob is always available when he's on the floor. It makes it really difficult to build out an actual like winning roster when your center can't do big time center things like rebound and protect the rim at a high
Yeah.
rate there. So the
Yep.
Joel Embiid conversation is getting a lot more complicated than I wish would be the case there. And I don't know how much room there is for him to improve off what we're seeing. And that's kind of a concerning question right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a story narrative here that just doesn't go away anytime soon either. So with that being said, before I let you go, buddy, this team certainly has a lot to work on. And we've talked about a lot of that during the course of this discussion here, but I am still committed to saying that they are a fun team to watch overall, given the Joel Embiid challenges, given the concerns that we have about Tyrese Maxey and his minutes. And they have a spectacular backcourt with a ton of promise for the future, which I think is so fun in terms of watching this team, following what happens with them. That being said, excuse me, what do you want to see from this 76ers team in terms of what they need to work on most here in December that can really propel them into 2026?
Yeah, I want to see him keep scrapping, keep doing a lot of what they are doing, and keep leaning on the backcourt. But I still think that there is some work to be done as far as sorting out what is the chemistry level and what are the proper lineup combinations between the Tyrese Maxeys, Jared McCain, Quentin Grimes, VJ Edgecombe as sort of the identity of this offense and this team. I would like to see some level of defensive improvement, that they're not going to be an elite defensive team by any means, but it's got to be a little bit better than it has been, that they've been pretty close to the bottom tier of the team. And I think at best mediocre for stretches this season. So if you can get to just passable or serviceable in that category, I think would be a big deal. And I do think that when you look around the greater landscape of the Eastern Conference, I'm still really optimistic of this team making its way into the postseason to some capacity here. And that has less to do with direct belief in the Sixers and more to do with look at how bad some of the other teams in the East are. That when you look at the Pacers, the Nets, the Wizards, the Hornets, none of those teams I think have any sort of postseason chance there. So it's really one team that is trying to win basketball games isn't going to qualify for it. So we'll see ultimately what things are going to be at the end of the season here, but I just want to continue seeing this level of fight, competitiveness, and see where the cards fall where they do at the end of the season.
It's a fun season so far, and we're going to continue to follow it ourselves and discuss it here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show for sure. Folks, he is Sean Barnard from Fox Sports Phillies, The Gambler, also over at DraftKings as well, at Sean_Barnard1 on the Twitter/X. My friend, it has been fantastic talking to you as always. Come back, join us. I'd love to talk more Sixers with you, more NBA talk for sure, my friend.
Absolutely. Anytime. Appreciate you for having me, Jeff.